What's up, YouTube land? How you doing? We're here with more VII Rebirth, and I can safely say I'm farther than Trev at this point. I mean, it's literally June 2nd, and this game came out February 29th, so, you know. That's, what, 3 full months? But, I got to Nibelheim, so I really don't think Trev's gonna get to Nibelheim today.
Nope. With
all the cutscenes and stuff. So, I'm a little bit ahead of him. Every week, every single week I'm like, oh god, he's gonna catch up to me. And this week I put in a little bit of extra time. I stayed up past my bedtime of 10 p.m. and was awake till 11.
Whoa.
A couple of nights. I know. Well, to be fair, I do have to get up every literally 2 hours to make a bottle at night, and then he's up for the day at 6 a.m. So 10 p.m. is not that ridiculous. I can't wait till I can just sleep. It'd be so sweet.
How long does that take? Another like year and a half?
Nah, like a couple months. It's just the problem is babies are so small that their stomachs are so small that like they get filled and they're like, I'm good, and then their stomachs are so small that like 2 hours later, it's like that meme with when you eat Chinese food you're hungry an hour later.
Yeah,
it's
that makes perfect sense.
Actually true. So it's not even anything you can blame on anything but like physiology. Oh, guess what? We meet handsome I mean, who do you think's gonna come in with a plane?
Yeah, when I saw this, especially since it said it's like the Bronco Airlines or whatever, I was like, oh, it's Cid.
That was, for me, that was hitting it on the head a little too much. I wish they didn't do that. I would rather just be more surprised. But the second they said Bronco, I was like, yep, alright, it's Cid.
So yeah, this remake cuts Rocket Town. I hope it doesn't cut it for good. I mean, there better be Rocket Town in Part 3.
I really doubt it, because Rocket Town is essential for the huge materia. I mean, assuming they do the huge materia.
Just that, I forget exactly where it is in the continent, but if you look at the continents, I think it's just like missing. But they already do change the geography in the remake game, so I guess it's just going to be somewhere else.
So you're about to go to Cosmo Canyon. And, like I said, today I just finished Cosmo Canyon, and they do Cosmo Canyon pretty interestingly, in so much that, like, geography-wise, it is completely separate from anything else. There is no way in or out, at least from what I can tell, besides plane. Because they're like, can we go to Nibelheim? And he's like, ooh, that's pretty far. You know what I mean? So it's, like, literally, like, hundreds of miles.
Yeah, the way that they have it is the only way in and out is by plane.
Yeah. Which, again, I get it. I'm not faulting the remake for that, but it was like... It's weird, because Trev, me, and Big Mike were talking this week about how they do Cosmo Canyon, which you're about to see in the next 10 minutes. And I'm a little bummed because it's like more of like almost a tourist trap kind of thing, where there's a bunch of like middle-class... I mean, essentially white people just being like, "Oh my God, we're at Cosmo Canyon.
Like
we have to go."
So I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. In the original game, Cosmo Canyon was this super like secretive, like society in the middle of nowhere, in a land that's completely like you can't grow anything there, and there's no way in and out, and it's really far from everything. And here's the question that was in the back of everyone's mind in the original: what do they eat? And the answer is nothing, because they don't make money, they can't grow food. I know it's a stupid like nitpick.
No, I mean, I never thought of it that way.
But in the remake, it being like a tourist attraction for hipsters.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Oh yeah. At least it's a way for them to generate money.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, the way Trevor puts it, it's like they don't want those hipster people there, but they have to because they have to get money and stuff.
I think Bugenhagen turning from like a complete hermit to like someone that like he obviously loves the planet and he wants to like spread his teachings to other people. So it makes a lot of sense that he would want people to come to Cosmo Canyon so they can teach them in seminars and they can also make money off of it. And I really didn't, when I was playing this, I really did not mind the Cosmo Canyon part. It's all the geese stuff that's like kind of a wet
Well,
part.
and I guess we'll definitely see that during this part. Yeah, that is. I mean, and I definitely understand the thinking there. I was more thinking of it as like essentially a mixture of a Native American reservation and almost like a monastery or like a Buddhist temple kind of thing, where like it was clearly very religious based, but also in the original game when you come in, they literally did not let you in until Nanaki like vouched for you like 3 times. And I don't remember it's been so long. If Bugenhagen actually came down and said, come on, come in, you know, like even if they didn't trust Nanaki for that.
I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think so. I think you see Bugenhagen in the observatory.
I think you're correct there. But I do specifically know that they would not let you in if you just happen to come on by, they're like, whoa, this is you know, you have to be from. I think their thing is you have to be from Cosmo Canyon, right? So it's like generally people live there, born there, live there, die there, kind of thing. But Trevor's hypothesis does make a lot more sense for the real world. Like I understand that there's monsters and materia and whatever, but if you try to base it a little bit in reality...
I mean, just look at Cosmo Canyon. It's a bunch of rocks.
Right.
What can you possibly grow or export or import here?
Turn on motion sensor.
Whoa.
Future!
This part, like, you don't even have to move or do anything.
Maybe they're doing this because in the next game you'll be flying more.
I mean, if you have controllable Highwind, that's what's going to happen. I just don't... The only way I can see it actually being playable is that it's like... They make... I mean, just like in the original game, where the world map is like sort of like a miniature, like, kind of playset, and like Cloud's like a little tiny piece, and the Highwind is like bigger than him, but it's still like very miniaturized, and you just go around in this sort of like chibi miniaturized world. I could see that working, but it seems like this game really wants to be realistic and never do stuff like that.
Well, the desert buggy, my biggest complaint was it takes 10 seconds to walk in and out of it because they wanted to show how realistic it was.
The buggy was ruined because they have to show that animation of Cloud getting out of the driver's seat, grabbing his sword, and walking out.
So what are they going to do in the Highwind? Show Cloud climbing up 40 ladder rungs and then going through the whole thing until he gets to the...
and we saw the Highwind in this game. It's humongous. Yeah. It is just the biggest airship in Shinra's fleet.
By the way, Cid is 21 years old. No, he's like 29 or something like that. I forget exactly.
Send up a signal.
But I just like how... he's like probably less than 30 years old, and he's like... has his own business with this.
I think he's 32.
32, okay. But also had enough time to become like a world-class pilot and have his dreams killed by Shinra.
Yeah, he has dreams. He attempted his dreams. Now they were shattered, and he's a cynical old man at 32.
I can't wait for Shira. Square, please make Rocket Town Kino. Like, seeing the rocket... in all of its glory and everything at its actual size would be amazing. By the way, so Trevor just fast traveled to Cosmo Canyon. I just want to say, in real game time, it probably took me like 5 hours with just doing all the stuff around here until I got to actual Cosmo Canyon.
Cosmo Canyon is humongous, but it's a lot of empty space. I mean, the gimmick of the Chocobo is like gliding, and yeah, there's just a lot of empty space.
So
Cosmo Canyon is still pretty big. It's probably the second biggest area.
When you get a chance, if you can show the mini map, I want to show them just an example of what I was talking about. But there are times where it looks like you're right next to your destination if you're trying to find like an intel or whatever. And what in reality you have to do is find a Chocobo launching pad, go to 7 other Chocobo launching pads, and fly across the whole map to get there.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
What in the hell was that?
I apologize, I was talking. But Red 13's voice suddenly is very, very, very higher pitched than it was.
Yeah, this is another change that... Like, I don't hate it, but it's just weird and unnecessary.
What they're trying to show is that Nanaki is actually, like, 50 years old, but in his In his race, it's more like 15 or 16. So the second he gets back to Cosmo Canyon, he starts going, "Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Nanaki." Dude, reward poster Cloud Strife, Mog's real Cloud Strife.
My only problem with Nanaki's voice change is that also his personality changes too. Like, we'll get to it later, but what did you want to show?
Oh, just like, so go... Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I can't even leave, sorry.
You can press the options button. Okay, so like for instance, to get to... Alright, right where Trevor is, go down a little and do the chocobo stop. The sword right next to it. To get to that, it looks really simple. You can be at that chocobo stop, right? And be like, oh, I just go around it or whatever. No.
Yeah, they show you like... It's like, between here, it's like 78 meters above the ground. The one right next to it's 129 meters. One right next to it is, again, like 50 meters.
So sometimes, if you go up further, you'll be starting on, like, a chocobo stop, like, potentially that one in the upper right of the screen, right? And you'll go the whole way down, and then the whole way right, and the whole way left. And it's just this... It's this ridiculous thing. I don't have an exact path, but people get the point. It is crazy. It's not as annoying as Gungaga, because at least it makes sense. Gungaga with the
at least
chocobo jumping on mushrooms doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, the mushrooms just have a predestined path, and there's no consistency to it at all. So sometimes, like, you get to a mushroom and it bounces you 50,000 feet in the air, and then other times it's just like a little, like, bloop.
And also the chocobo pads, in the positives for this, the chocobo pads are fast travelable. So if you jump off one and you decide you don't like where you went, you can just fast travel back up to it.
Yeah.
Whereas the mushrooms are not fast travelable locations. So I've jumped on ones in Gungaga and be sent like literally 500 meters away, and I'm like, okay. And then I have to find my way the whole way back. It was just so obnoxious.
Gungaga is easily the worst.
Yeah.
World Intel area.
I generally like simpler stuff.
You're only making this harder.
There's the voice.
I mean, I wish we had more time, but
Anyway,
like I can accept him having like a different voice and him just doing a deep voice just to be taken seriously. But his personality also regresses. Like, my example is, early in their game, when you're in the Mithril Mines, Barret and Red 13 team up. And there's, like, no qualms about it. They just do it. They're completely natural at it, and then they attack that, like, rock golem. Perfectly in sync, and they're fine. And then, when we start the Red 13 trial, underground, Cosmo Canyon, Red 13, like, at the start's like, do you have my back, Barret? It's like, yes, he did it literally this game.
Yeah.
Why? What is this?
yeah, I definitely agree. Why does Kate Sith have to sleep, by the way?
I'm gonna steal some shy if you don't mind.
Hey, you do not mind.
Then we can see the site.
I'm a puppet. I need to sleep. Okay. But yeah, I agree with Trev. It is very. It's just odd. Also, is it confirmed Bugenhagen is standing or sitting on the orb, or is the orb part of his body?
I'm gonna say that he's standing on it, but it could be part of it.
I just want to know. He has normal arms, because sometimes you see his arms through his really long robe.
I really want to say that he's just standing on it.
Is it better to sprinkle
I mean, that definitely makes the most sense, but I just wanted one. Oh, maybe in the third game, if spoilers, he dies. Really old guy dies? What? Anyway, maybe they'll show him like laying down not on the orb, and that'll solve that. So just have to wait till 26, probably.
Yeah, hopefully, or early 2027.
There's a lot of talk about PlayStation ramping up for the PlayStation 6, or Sony ramping up for the PlayStation 6, and I just don't... I understand PS5, unironically, has no games. People make fun of the PS3 for having no games, but I get it. But, like, there's just no way. It's only been 4 years. There's
also rumors about the PS5 Pro. It's like, why does that exist?
They just came out with the Slim, like, 2023.
It's like it's clearly that we're at a point where developers are not utilizing the hardware enough, and generations are becoming like more and more meaningless.
I doubt there's a thing or two you don't
Oh, they really are.
And
Dude, if I was a developer working for a company owned by Microsoft, and they were like, all right, make this game, and it's got to be cutting edge and look really good. Also, it has to play on the Series S and the Series X. I'd be like, no. Because the Series S is so underpowered compared to the Series X. Make it work on both. It's like... Oh, you know what I just saw, Trev? You probably saw it already because you did the box art for it. Madden 5
yeah,
is coming out on the PS4. Did you see that?
yeah.
PS4 and Xbox One. I actually can't believe it.
Doesn't super surprise me because apparently, sort of, I guess it's pretty irrelevant, but Call of Duty, their player base is like 50% still on current gen compared to next gen.
Wow.
Which is why, like, there's, like, the new Call of Duty's also probably still gonna be PS4, just like Modern Warfare 3 was last year.
That's...
It's a weird time.
Surprise! Yeah, at this, I was not surprised when Madden 24 was on the PS4, but I know I told you this last year. I was like, there's no way Madden 25 is on the PS4, and it is. I mean, it's just going to be like a roster update of Madden 24, you know. But for them to even bother doing that is pretty crazy.
It's just a weird time for generations because a lot of the people that still have a PS4 are perfectly content with it because graphics. There's just no big generational leap anymore.
It looks pretty good, yeah.
And people, like, the PS5 is selling really well, but people aren't, like, buying games. Like, software sales are so bad.
I know it's a weird question, but what are they doing with it?
My guess that I say over and over is that people get a PS5 and then they buy PSN or PS Plus, and then they just write off the free games. That's all they do.
God, I can't wait till we get to the point where the free game meme is done.
And there's rumors that Xbox is... They're designing, like, a reference hardware model for the next-gen Xbox, but what they're going to do is, like, license the design out to third-party, like, hardware manufacturers, so kind of like Xbox is just going to become, like, more of a service.
So, like, NVIDIA could be like, we're making our own Xbox or whatever. Huh.
Pretty much literally.
Interesting.
Which definitely means that
no
Xbox...
disk drive.
Possibly.
With our own eyes.
Yeah, I would say probably. Because they are really just becoming more of a digital, like, service. Luckily for PS6 rumors, I saw, like, immediately it still has a Blu-ray drive.
At least Sony is slightly based in that way.
Yeah, apparently the PS5 digital edition has been, like, kind of resounding flop.
I think it just comes down to the price point. Like,
It's just...
$50 difference.
Yeah. It used to be 100, and now it's only 50. It's like, why would you get the digital?
Yeah, I don't... It would have to be, I feel like, even more than 100 for me. Like, it would have to be, like, PS5's 500, PS5 digital's 350. I'd be like, okay, you know, whatever.
But even that, it's like... Consoles just don't do digital sales that well, and... I mean, the big one is, like, Call of Duty. Like, I bet if you look up Call of Duty Vanguard, which is a game we sell for $10 used, I bet on the PSN store it's still $69.99.
Yeah, because the way they get around it is they say, oh, it's the Gold Edition. It's the Ultimate Edition. It has all the DLC. It has everything. But, like, what if you just want to kind of casually play the COD games, you know? Like...
People legitimately just play COD for the campaign. It's like...
Or zombies or whatever they call it. Yeah, and it's like, what about the people who don't want to get every single map in the multiplayer mode, you know? Yeah, I don't know, the PlayStation, like, I'm just so excited for Game Pass to, like, eventually die, and, like, PlayStation Now, or whatever they call it, to follow suit. I did like the idea, years ago, when they first started it, PlayStation, I think Xbox was the first to do it, to give the free games every month. With Xbox Live Gold. I thought that was kind of a neat little bonus. Where it's like, hey, thank you for subscribing, here's 2 games. And honestly, back then, they were usually pretty good games. They would be like, yo, it's like the 2-year-old Assassin's Creed. Which it's like, hey, you know, that game's probably still used for like $20, so like, great, right? Nowadays, I oftentimes forget to check for the free games, and when I do, I don't even bother. All you have to do is just press purchase. You don't even have to download it right now, because it adds it to your library, and sometimes the games, I look at them, and I'm like, I know I'm never, ever, ever in my life going to even turn this game on that I don't even bother pressing purchase. And it's free. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be some, like, online PvP shooter thing, and I'm like, literally never, ever in my life. The only winner from the last 6 months was Power Wash Simulator, but I like really dumb, specific things like that. And the game itself is like $40, which is way too much. So I was like, Power Wash Simulator for free? Sure, whatever. It's one of those things where if I had like 15 minutes before like a baseball game, I'd be like, sure, and you play it for like a little bit, you know? But, beyond that, a lot of the stuff they have, I'm just like, I am so uninterested in this. There was a time where they gave out Rocket League and, like, Bloodborne and stuff like that, and those are, like, you know, big titles for that.
Yeah, and, Sony put out, like, a fiscal report on the PlayStation business, and apparently the PS5 generation so far has been the most profitable of any generation. And I really think it's mostly because of them doing stuff like giving you absolute crap for the free games, like just saving as much money as possible. And it's like they put so much money into these big tentpole games. Like Spider-Man 2 had like a $300 million budget, not accounting for marketing. And like Horizon, like Forbidden West, which is just like the Horizon games just always think of like bargain bin like filler franchise. You find Zero Dawn for like $5.
Pretty much.
But they put like $275 million into Forbidden West. And it's like, how?
Yeah, Horizon's one of those series where it's like, how do I put this? It's the least AAA a AAA game could possibly be, if that makes sense.
But like Sony's pushing it so hard, and the budgets are enormous, and you look at the game, it's the most soulless, bland. It's like they make a franchise that's about shooting at robotic dinosaurs with a bow, which sounds cool AF, and they make it boring. It's like, how do you do that? Oh, you make the dialogue horrible and generic and boring.
What if it doesn't? What if it
Gotcha.
Just think about it. One of the games I'm still butthurt about of how people viewed it is Order 1886, which got like literal 2 out of 10s. It's a Sony exclusive from like, I don't know, 2015, 2016. And it got literal 2 out of 10s because it was only like, I don't know, 6-7 hours long kind of thing. And people were like, ugh. But like that game was fun as crap. Like that's a game I want to revisit at some point. Like I played it, I enjoyed it, I didn't have to spend 1,000 hours on it doing a bunch of fetch quests, you know? And I enjoyed it, and literally it was like, nope, 0 out of 10.
I mean, I guess if you forced me to play either game, either Order 1886 or Horizon Zero Dawn, I would definitely choose Order 1886.
I mean, Order 1886 has a pretty good story, and it's literally a Gears of War game, essentially.
Both games is just like, I'm completely uninterested. But Horizon Forbidden West or Zero Dawn, whatever, they're the same garbage. They just waste your time. It's just an empty, open-world, formulaic, copy-and-paste, trash game design that I hate.
I mean, at least Order
Even in this game, all the open-world stuff is just like, yep.
Yeah.